Good morning, everybody. Just getting the server serving. Cameras doing their camera thing. Screens doing their screen things. Just making sure those electrons go from our cameras all the way to your video screens in the proper manner. Oh, I got my mic up too high. Let's turn that gain down a little bit. And we will be with you in just a bit.
Space, final frontier.
Good morning, Space Cat. Thanks for tuning in before the show even starts. I'll be with you in just a little bit. But Space, I found this story about it, and I'll talk more about it on the show. And I put two and two together about a story I covered the other day, and well, I should say a story Patreon I covered the other day, and then this story, and it makes your mind explode. So everyone tune in, we'll be with you a little bit. Pedro's running a little late, so I'm probably gonna get going without him here in a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, just running a touch late here. We'll be with you in just a minute. Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the late start today. I have no scroller on the bottom of me, so my body is cut in half. Let's see if that does it. Nope, that doesn't do it. We'll fix that later. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great award-winning show. Like I always say, we gave ourselves the award, but someone has to win, right? Anyway, the man in the box next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, and my co-host du jour. Pedro, what's happening?
Not much, man. It is a beautiful day, man. I cannot complain. Things are good. I'm alive. I've got all my phalanges. It's a good
phalanges. I'm missing part of my body here right now. I can just like one of those magicians in Vegas or something like that.
Yeah.
Chopped off. Yeah. Normally there's a scroller there with prices and all that, but it's not there today. I don't know why. It should be. So I'm going to try and move myself down here and see if we can do it. Anyway, today is June 26th. June 26th. It's one day closer to the end of the year and Christmas, and one day closer to my birthday. I'll be turning 57 shortly here, if you can believe that. But like I always say, you know it's getting close to Christmas because the Canadian Tires and Home Depots and Lowe's and all those places are already loading in the Christmas boxes, getting all their stuff in from China to sell us cheap crap for Christmas. But that's not all what's going on here today. Bitcoin's just chilling. You know, Pedro, we always talk about volatility in the markets, needing to have volatility. Sometimes it's good for Bitcoin to just chill. Kind of let the markets settle out. There's been a lot of numbers released today, this week. There was Jerome speaking, these numbers, that numbers, this kind of stuff. And everything just kind of chilled a little bit. Nothing super tanked, nothing super pumped. And that's a good thing. Maybe Bitcoin is just getting ready for a nice slow summer. We hope not, because then it will not be a very profitable summer. But we hope there's some volatility in the market. And also the topic of the day that I had up here. Where's that thing here? Crypto mortgages. Pedro, I ran across this article about crypto mortgages. And we'll go into this in a little while, about payments in crypto for mortgages coming. Now, there's specialty things you can do, and there's probably some crypto lending firms that will pay your mortgage for you, but they just behind the scenes convert it to cash and then pay your mortgage in cash or by U.S. funds. But now we're moving direct to crypto payment to crypto receiving, And I'm going to tie a story that I learned about today, yesterday, this crypto mortgages one, with one we talked about last week. And Pedro, even your mind is going to be blown. So stand by, everybody, to have your mind blown. Okay, Pedro's mind might not be blown. He figures all this shit out too, but but it made for good theater here. Anyway, Pedro, what's happening, my friend? What's happening?
None much. Let's jump right into Bitcoin here real quick. Now, actually, as a side note, we've got 5 people watching over us on Rumble. If you guys could do us a favor, lock on in, clock, or if you don't mind, come on in, not clock in. If you could come on in and hit that little subscribe button. We are now part of the Rumble.
We are once again part of the Rumble Creator Program. We dropped off while I was effing off around the world because we didn't get enough streaming hours in, but we're cranking it out this month. So we rejoined July 1st, but we still need more followers and watch time. So
if you guys could just jump on in, hit that subscribe button. If you want to jump on out again, you can. But if you're already in, just tell us where you're coming from or where you would like to be. As everybody knows, mine is on the beaches of San Diego and/or chilling on my nice white bungalow over in Santorini. Bungalow. the bungalow. Bungalow in Santorini. Santorini, dude. All right. Okay, here we go.
There's a bunch of Greeks right now going, no, Mr. Pedro. Come here. You go to Cyprus, not here.
I'm like, well, come on, man. Shoot, I can cook up a amazing Greek meal. I tell you this. Anyways, anybody knows what the Evo is? Extra virgin olive oil all day long, baby. Let's go.
Pedro, a little housekeeping on the side. Our Rumble last night, I tried to play our little clip that I clipped out of yesterday's show about Bitcoin dominance as a premiere video on Rumble, and it totally jacked up our whole Rumble streaming studio room. And they're trying to fix it, so I'm not using the Rumble Studio. I'm just doing it the old way. You just stream it direct to it, which means we don't get the benefits of the advertising today. So, ladies and gentlemen, you won't be able to hear me read some great ads from 1775 Coffee, Rumble, Truth Social, and there's another one though. I noticed behind the scenes in the list of advertising that a crypto exchange has signed up to have their ad be read on our show.
For us or for all crypto?
Wow. They pick their channels that they want to go. So I'm sure they're having all the crypto people do it. But until it actually comes to fruition, I don't know. I think they need like 25 viewers or something like that. So, but it won't happen today because we're not using a Rumble Studio. We're just doing it the old way. Anyway, but so we'll miss that. I look forward to those so much. I even go back and watch myself read the ads, and I think while I'm doing the ads I'm pretty good, and then I go back and read them. I'm like, ugh, I suck. Just like my golf game.
Well, let's go ahead and check this out here real quick. We had a trade here yesterday that was expecting us to continue down, and let's just see how it went. Alrighty then, boom, boom, boom. So it was a small little trade right here where we're looking. I was thinking we were going to come down and follow through. But you can see here, we came down, went just a little, came back up, stopped us out. So we can see that trade right here kind of go, and like I said, it's a game of probabilities. I know my trading style is pretty good. Again, Tom took a similar trade and won. So shout out to Tom. There you go.
Have another problem that I successfully got my ass out of too. I took a trade in the 108s, thinking that the bull flag was right there somewhere. In a place where it never came back to the 108. Gotcha. No, I take that back. Well, you know what? I'll talk about my trades after you talk about BTC.
Alrighty, so let's check out BTC. So we're coming up in the weekend. We're kind of stagnant here. Now, one of the things I want to bring up, and this is, a lot of people are starting to really pay attention to this, is that we're just not the only ones who've noticed this. We've all seen that there's been a slowdown in crypto and a major kind of just liquidity just kind of emptied out. And really saw this around the same period in time that America went out and basically kind of took out the nuclear, what do you want to call it?
Iran stuff.
Yeah, Iran stuff. We came to, and at that same period in
Got
time,
you to say it right. Ha!
Yes. Or Iran. Iran. So what's interesting is that we're watching a huge amount of hash rate, just basically 25% of the world's hash rate basically went out of nowhere. So, or literally just disappeared.
Yeah, I found that interesting.
Yeah, and it was literally within like minutes of it. So obviously, not even minutes, like within seconds, we saw it just boom. That means that Iran was out there. Iran was literally out there mining almost 25% of the world's Bitcoin, which means that we'll see Bitcoin kind of drop off. The more miners, the harder it is. The less miners, the easier it is, right? So there's definitely going to see a major push. If that was Trump's initiative to do, if they knew that, I would say that was absolutely brilliant, which means that a major portion of that nuclear generation for the energy created by nuclear energy created, I don't know what to say, that nuclear propulsion or nuclear, whatever it is, went away. And that means that it's up for grabs, which if America is sitting right, I would throw so much money into mining that. like let's get this up and running. Let's go. Like, love to take over 25% of the world. We know right now China has a ton of hash rate coming out of there for the miking. Hey, I've got some major feedback in my ear. I don't know what that is.
Who are you hearing?
Like that you're doing. Neither. It's just, it sounds like just a bunch of air gets is being. It sounds like this in my ear, but it's coming from you.
Maybe it's the mic on my shirt here.
Oh, that's what it is. It is the mic somehow.
That voice kind of turned me on there, Pedro.
So with that said, we're watching and it makes sense to see the drop in liquidity come in, as you can see here. So right now we're at this supply level. Again, we're seeing even a slow day on sellers. So it really doesn't make sense much what's happening right now. I'm stagnant. I can't tell you really what I expect Bitcoin to do, except that we're at a supply area here. We've been playing off this demand area, and we're kind of consolidating, as you can see again, in this, say, last month and a half of just one major consolidation period here. So you can see boom, 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 boom. I do expect this to go down based off of the fact that this will be a lower high, which then would push it down. So if we finish with this candle coming down to the lows, expect over the weekends to come down and test that 8-period moving average, which is going to be that 104.710 area, and then the next area expected then to come back down into this lower area, if not further, to touch that 100-day period moving average. So that's in a nutshell there. Just be prepared kind of for some, whenever I see major drop in a volume, what do I always say? Expect a news event.
Right.
So I hate to say that. I hope we don't go to war. Or I hope we don't. Like, I'm being honest. Like, this is always what happens.
The man's been right about this a few times here. So
too many times. That's the problem. That is the major problem. So expect a news event this weekend, and pray that it's nothing like world changing again. So. Anyways.
Hold on just 1 second, Pedro. Behind the scenes, I'm doing a little social media and getting the word out about the show here.
It. Oh, we got Space Cat. What's up, Space Cat's in the house? What's up, my brother? Good to have you. Boom, boom, boom. It's not very often that I get here early, which is true. It is true. I'm usually quite late, but when I'm early, I'm usually quite early. All right, my brother. When said by the coolest man ever, the most interesting man ever.
The most interesting man on the planet.
The most interesting man on the planet. Also, what's up, Crypto Mike over there on Rumble? Good to have you, brother. What's up? What's up? Mikey. Good to have you, brother. Give me 1 second.
Sorry for the discombobulation this morning here, everybody. As you know, I've been quite famous for having technical issues, but today this was not my technical issue. No, it was Rumble's, and so I had to do some workarounds. And when you do some workarounds right before you go live, all the other things that you do, like social media, graphics, yada yada yada, research, get put to the wayside.
Every time you say that, I always think about Seinfeld. Yada yada yada. That reminds me of that.
Hey, exactly. Yada yada yada. I love it.
Yes. So one of the things I think I'm definitely starting to look at is kind of these meme coins, seeing what's actually happening. So we're going to go over some of those meme coins here while Tom is taking care of business here, and then we'll come back to him later. Also, I want to, before we go into that, I want to hit up some news just recently. I'm going to read them off again. A lot of this stuff I pull from Watcher Guru and a few other things. So I want to kind of go over that and just kind of give you guys heads up just from the daily kind of like real quick news here. Why did that? I always hate it. You know how it always goes back to where you were like just... All right. So here we go. Going back, there we are. All right, so starting yesterday, basically Bitcoin reclaimed 100,000, which what we saw. Nvidia flipped Microsoft to become the world's most valuable company. President Trump says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is a very stupid person, which we all know and heard of.
You keep doing that when I'm taking a cup of coffee or taking a drink of my coffee here.
That's the point, my friend. That is the point. The other thing here, as you can see, Fed Chair says that the crypto stablecoin industry has matured and become more mainstream. No, it hasn't. It's still the same game, Mr. Jerome Powell. The only difference is that you have the right administration who's saying it's okay, but it really hasn't matured, my friend. It's in the same. If anything, it's actually become a little bit more precarious. But I'm not going to go into that. Next, Jerome Powell says future trade deal may allow the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. Shocking, right? 6 trillion asset managers. Fidelity says Bitcoin and crypto continues to evolve. Wow, that's really interesting because it hasn't. It's still the same game. How has it evolved? It hasn't. You still have a consensus basis. People are still buying on the blockchain. You can still send coin from here to here. There's nothing that's changed, my friend, except your perspective, which you actually did some research. Yay! All right. White House officially says that the U.S. government has an accumulation plan to buy Bitcoin. Shocking, the fact that we just went through and bombed the living junk out of Iran. Out of Iran. And guess what? Now there's a freed up 25% to be able to go through and mine. Shocking. Wow. A new plan. All right. Directors of the federal housing orders preparations for the business to count cryptocurrency as
hey, wait, hold on. We'll be talking about that in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just reading through it. Don't worry. I'm just giving just the information here. Don't worry. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce admits the agency really mishandled Bitcoin exchange traded products.
Can't believe it.
Wow. How is that possible? I don't even get it. They're finally getting to it. Great job. All right. Next one. So this is fun. We got to start doing this. This is fun, actually. A judge denies Ripple an SEC request to end XRP case early, which is kind of shocking. I'm actually kind of shocked about that. So I would.
They tried to do an end run. I mean, even when the government says we're not going to pursue this anymore, generally there's some things that have to happen. There are procedural motions, all this type of stuff, and there's still requirements in those things for like 90 days notice and this type of stuff. But I noticed that Ripple has tied up. They have like $150 million in cash, like cold hard cash, tied up in a bond with the government. And generally, you have to put up a bond for that. And I think, if I read the article correctly, the cost of their bond was $150 million for a potential $1.5 billion fine. And so they want that money released, and that cash released. And guess what happens if they don't get that cash back soon, Pedro?
What?
They have to sell more XRP to pay their operations, because they have massive payroll. I think it's something like a bajillion dollars a week. Now, I may have just made that number up, but...
You mean 10 septillion dollars a week?
Right, yeah. 10 septikrapakistani dollars.
All right, so that's funny. All right, next. Binance founder CZ says the current American dream is to own a home. The future American dream will be to own 0.1 BTC, which will be more than the value of a house in the U.S. I agree with that. It's basically $10,000.
0.1 BTC is going to need to be worth about $300,000. So that means that's a $3 million Bitcoin.
No, right now, so right now, 0.1 would be 1% would be 1,000. So 0.1 would be $100. So $100 of Bitcoin is 0.1. My man, I don't know about that, but I hope you're right, because I'm gonna be sitting pretty.
Wait, 0.1. So,
right.
0.1 is 10%.
No, 1% is, okay, 10%, move the decimal over, and it goes from 10,000 or 100,000 to 10,000, right?
Right, he didn't use percents, he used 0.1
Yeah, I
Bitcoin.
know, 0.1, that's what I did. That's
right.
what I said.
So that's 10% of 1.
Right, which is $100.
No. Pedro.
1% of 0.1%. Okay, dude.
Not 0.1%. 1 Bitcoin is 1, right?
No, it's 0.1 BTC.
Right. How much is 0.1 BTC right today?
Right now, it's $100, $107.
No, Bitcoin's at $107,000. What's 10%? It's 10%.
$10,000.
All right. Now, what's 1%?
1,000.
Oh, 0.1%.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's what I'm saying. It's 0.1. You're good. It's all right. It's all good. It's all right.
Sorry, Pedro. I'm sitting there going, that's 10%. He's just 0.1.
No, that's what I'm saying. If it's 0.1, dog, I'm like, all right, let's go, dude. Like, I've got a bit more than 1%.
I was
0.1%.
I was confusing 0.1 and 0.1%. And
that's all right. That's right. I got you, dude.
The coffee cup is still full. That means none of this has caused this to start yet.
You're good, dude. Don't even trip. All right, let's check the next one here.
It's so funny. I wondered why you weren't getting it. I'm like, this principle's so easy. It's basic math. And I'm sitting there. I'm the idiot. And I'm like, oh.
It's okay. I don't argue. Remember, the first thing to do is never argue with somebody who thinks they're right. Okay? I'm serious. Like, that's one of the first things. I'm like, this person can't see that he's wrong. Am I the idiot? I do see I could be wrong. Boom. All right, we'll leave it alone. Like, I used to do that, and then I used to waste my freaking time.
I love watching people try to figure out math, and I gotta tell you, I'm generally a math wizard, and I got A's in math, I got A's in physics, all this type of stuff, and just every now and then you're just like, hey, I'm stupid, because math requires practice, like anything else.
Yes. And I remember I do it every day, so it's like one of those things that I got to calculate. Because remember, I look at my risk, I got to sit there and calculate real quick. And then I go through and I look at my, peanut, whatever it is, right? And I go, okay, I made 0.2% today, or I made, 0.3%. That's why my brain goes boom, boom. All right, so let's move in just real quick. We've got a couple more things here we can go over. I think it's really cool. Ripple says the ball is back in our court. Either way, XRP's legal status as not as security remains unchanged. So that's a great way to spin. Shout out to you. Director of Digital Assets says that the U.S. is committed to passing crypto market structure legislation by September, which is going to be really interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Hopefully they don't screw it up. I think that's a little too quick. 3 months to kind of go over all the details. I think you should slow it down. I would actually like it to be in October, maybe November, just to work out those small details there, my friend. Mr. Who's the digital asset? The czar is David Sachs. I forget who the digital director.
Bo Hines.
Bo Hines. Yes, thank you. Coinboy.
Coin Boy? Hold on one second here. We got Crypto Mike in the house, I think. Oh, wait.
It's all right. It's all right. You're good.
For some reason, his comments aren't showing up here on the comment machine. Here, let me fix that.
While you're fixing that, I'll finish off the last.
There we go. Go ahead, Pedro. Sorry.
All right, it's real good. Legislation, there we go. Coinbase to launch perpetual style crypto futures in the US on July 21st. Let's go, dude. Like, finally. Like, I can't believe it. And I bet you it's going to just be some BS, and then somebody else is going to do it, and it's going to be better, and somebody else is going to reiterate on it, and it's going to be just like Mexi. Let's go. All right, next. Justin. The White House officially says Bitcoin is digital gold, and it's in the United States' best interest to accumulate as much BTC as we can possibly get. And what's interesting is now that the fact that 25% of the hash rate has been eliminated, literally, that means that it's up for grabs. So the US is like, all right, so that's in a nutshell for the highlights for today. Let's go. What's going on, Thomas? How you doing?
Good, Pedro. Good. For those of you that didn't start with us here earlier today, the theme of the show today is well, I don't even have it on the screen. Anyway, we wanted to talk about. I came across crypto mortgages.
Crypto mortgages.
And
give me 1 second.
I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm going to talk about my trade here first, and then we'll come over to that.
In a second. All right.
All right. But anyway, while Pedro's doing that, the theme of the show is it should have come up there. Oh, all right. So everything's running slow again. The crypto mortgages. So we're going to get to that in a minute or so. Let's see if this can come up here. No, just not doing it. The whole system decided to crap out on me here. There we go. 10 minutes late. But houses made of Bitcoin? No, not made of Bitcoin. But so we'll get to that in just a minute. You're absolutely right, Space Cat. Space Cat, I'm giving you the sound. Yeah, Pedro will be back in just a minute. Let's get the living lo-fi going here. Oh, heck. Anyway, let's go over my my trade from today that I made a poorly timed trade. Yesterday, Pedro and I were talking about being the timing of trades and executing your entry well. And as I've learned, come on, computer, let's get going here. As I've learned over time that I don't multitask well when trading. I multitask well when like driving my car, eating McDonald's, texting, talking on the phone, also watching videos on another. No, I'm just kidding. But I did grow up driving a stick shift and eating fast food at the same time, driving with my knee. But this was before phones. But anyway, before phones, that sounds so old. But anyway, and yesterday I made a poorly executed entry on a trade. And I paid for it, not in dollars, because I ended up winning the trade, but in time. And it turned out that I made, when you add up the win versus the time it took, that I made about 4 cents an hour. It's not an effective use of my time or my capital. But I did, preparing for the days when I trade larger amounts, I know I'll make a mistake then, and I got to practice getting out of trades. yesterday, I made a trade. Let's see, Space Gets is. I have trouble. I don't know where Pedro went on that one. Hold on, Pedro, I'll get you back here. Pedro Cam, there we go. Anyway, yesterday I took a trade right here in this. Another YouTube streamer that I frequently watch was talking about this being a nice bull flag, and the 21 was following this 21 thing, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't really research it a lot. And so I got in the trade, and it for a little while, it did okay here. It came up, and it actually went above my entry thing. I was like, okay, whatever. And I stopped paying attention to it. And my stop was down here a little bit. It wasn't a lot of money. And then Bitcoin proceeded to just slowly decay over time here. And that, you're like, all right, what's going on here? And then today, let's see, where are we today here? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see. I'm not quite used to this, Pedro, still, as you are the master of the charts. I got in here last night, and then I went to bed right around here, and I said, all right, I put in a take profit right about here where this wick is, just underneath the previous high. I put my take profit in, and I thought that for like 60%. And then I put the balance up a little higher. If I could move the chart over, it would be just under another high point. So I thought that was a good move, and I thought Bitcoin was going to go up. And Bitcoin did go up and get my first stop. However, I didn't do it right. I only took 40% of my profits in the first one instead of 60. And I put 60 in the higher one. I got them reversed. Last night I was tired. I shouldn't do things when I'm tired. And then the trade immediately went against me, went sour. And then this morning, early in the morning, dropped a lot and then decayed here. And so I spent this time trying to guess when I would hit the bottom of it. And of course, guessing doesn't work in crypto, right, Pedro? Guessing means lose money. And so I went back and said, all right, when is this thing going to reverse? And from watching Pedro talk, I watched this 21 start to turn around here, 20-day moving average, whatever. And I mitigated the trade a little bit, meaning that I added a little bit of stuff to it. Pedro's shaking his head. Anyway, it popped up and got my stop, and I got out making $5. And that was my trade, and it was a very poorly executed trade, and it was a poorly managed trade. And one of the lessons I learned is Pedro says the time to trade is in the morning, 7 o'clock to 11:30 and 12 in the morning. The rest of the day, don't F with it. And I F'd with it, and I got lucky by making a few dollars on it, $5.76. But it was a poor trade, and I wanted to convey that to you, just to say, I've been talking about trading here and learning and trying to build up the balance and all that. But my balance is going to be going down if I do things like that. So it was a bad plan. You're on mute, by the way, Pedro. All right.
I think one of the things to really pay attention to is, and I bring this home all the time, put your stop in. If you get stopped out, it is okay. Like, you need to understand, it's okay to get stopped out. It's part of the game, right? And you learn from that. I don't buy in to your position as it continues to go against you. This is how you compound. It's like basically kind of twisting your knee. Okay, when you're running, you're like, oh shoot. And then what you do is you go, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my knee and I'm gonna turn it upside down. I literally, now you're breaking your leg, and that's what can happen. Okay, so if you twist your knee, best thing to do is stop, realign, chill for a second, right? Kind of loosen it up again, and then continue. Do not buy in as a price. Yes, it will always kind of pull back, but the key is here. Like me, I took that trade yesterday. It went against me, whatever, right? I know that I will progress because I'm good enough. I have an edge on the market because I've back tested this with many of my strategies, and it works. And I want to say for you guys, it's okay for stop outs. Don't sit there. The key is to learn from that stop out. Write it down. Say, what didn't I see? What was it that I needed to see? And if you don't know what you didn't see, then during those time periods, you need to go through. And it's okay to trade during the daytime if you want. If that's the only time you can trade, it's okay. But just understand the environment in which you're trading, which is going to basically be a small amount movement. Typically in the morning, you have big movements. And then around 3 o'clock, which is the close, right? You start to have movement again. And so people will come back around 2:30, look at the markets, see what's going on, and then take the end. And you typically have volatility at the end of the day where people get out of their trades. So that's it in a nutshell.
Space Cat commented that he couldn't hear you, but I think he might be behind by just a few minutes when I had said your mic was still on mute, because your mic definitely has been on. Because I can hear you in my ear, in my monitor, stream monitor. Yes,
No.
and totally agree with you on that, Pedro. But you know, getting up here and telling people that I'm learning and doing great, it isn't fully transparent. I have to get up here and say I screwed that up too, and let people know that when they learn, they're going to do that too. And if you try to be perfect, you will lose all your money really quickly. Because I do have experience with that. Not recently, but in the past.
Cut your losses. It's okay to cut your losses, right? That's why I always talk about you don't. Compound interest will take care of everything, right? That's just consistently winning. The key is that when you lose, cut it quick. Don't try to compound your loss, right? Get out, reassess. Should you go long? Did you see the market wrong? Or are you right? But just you need to be patient for the actual trade to actually continue. And so those are those small details that are super important. That's about it in a nutshell for me.
All right, let's get to after I'm going to talk a little bit about the crypto mortgages thing, and I think we're going to have a good discussion about this.
Now, with that said, did you know that May new home sales fell 13%, bro? Month over month.
In Canada, the whole thing's coming to a halt.
Dude, we've been talking about this. I've literally been talking about look at new homes. We bring up this all the time. Now they're finally airing it. But here's the thing. Last year, dude, we saw a huge drop. And then somehow, some way, the market came up. And I was sitting there going like, how is that possible? How did we see this thing explode where we're kind of to break even, if not a little ahead, but almost not like 80% of the year we were having nobody was buying homes. And so the ones that did come in were homes that were basically the loan rate was shifted. And so what would happen is they would say, we'll give you $50,000 here, right? So you can actually buy the home, because they needed homes. They needed the supply to get released. And so we saw that huge push. And we talked about that on a few of our episodes last year, saying this is a false market. This is not going to continue. Home builders cannot go through and do this. And so that's why people were buying it. And then they added the 50,000 onto the end of the actual loan, which was wrong. It was basically 2008 asset-backed mortgages, basically saying these are falsified loans for people who really can't afford them.
Here in Canada, they have just went through an election in which one of the top things was housing. Housing's too expensive. There's not enough of it. The supply does not equal demand. And they, of course, in the election, they blame developers. They're like, oh, it's those rich developers. They're just gouging everybody, blah, 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 blah. And the developers are up there. They're like, our costs are outrageous. You know, we have to. And they came up with a number here, Pedro, that'll actually blow your mind. The average price, and I'm going to get the number wrong, so when people, you Google it and like, he was wrong, but it's a general number. It's massive. It's like almost $500,000 a house is the cost just in connecting it to the sewer, the water, it's the cost of, not the cost of the land or building it. It's the cost in dealing with the city. It's like 350,000 American dollars. Yeah, all the fees and studies you have to do, you have to pay all these things, blah blah blah, and it's way more. I mean, like in Texas, it's like $1,500. In here, the average is like 350,000 American dollars, 500,000 Canadian dollars. And my father-in-law's a home developer and builder, and he said, yeah, it's just. I mean, they charge things like $80,000 to connect your house to the sewer system, and each housing development. I mean, nobody just buys a lot and builds a house anymore, except for people way out in the sticks. Most new housing is a development of some sort, and the environmental studies, the engineering costs, the sun studies, all these types of things that they got to do add up to massive amounts of money and time, and a huge amount of time. All these studies and all that can add a year to the process. And so the developers here are literally saying, look, we'll build as many homes as you want. We'll build more than the supply can handle, even if we tank the market, because we're still satisfying demand. It's not like they're overbuilding capacity and selling it under cost. They said, we're always going to be selling it for a profit. And if we build more, and they won't do it. The cities just won't allow them to build them. They're just like, we're 4 years waiting for city approval on this one. And the cities are like, well, that's what our rules are. We get sued. Then they say, okay, we're going to cut the regulations. The federal government said, here in Canada, we're cutting all the regulations. And everything has to be approved within a certain amount of time. Well, that's true, but then someone sues. The neighbor sues and says, well, that sun is going to block my house, and I bought this house based on being able to see the sun. It's maddening. It's maddening. So people here in Canada are getting raped for it. Anyways, that is just the side talk of it all. But that's like a whole week of shows just talking about how local governments are ultimately the problem of the housing markets. But okay, good there, Pete.
So one of the things I think is really important to also understand that if you right now, one of the major, I guess, wealth ideology is that even though it's not really wealth, because when we see inflation go up, we also see housing go up, right? The actual price, because it's an asset.
Yep.
And so somebody who bought a home for $10,000 or $50,000 over a period of 25 years is now sitting on a house that's $350,000, $400,000. And if you flood the market with a ton of housing, they literally feel as if they've lost out on that wealth. And so you got to be really careful here, because it's not one or the other. And this is one of those things I think people don't really look at. Now, I agree with you. To artificially keep a house by its value by not creating supply means it's not a free market. And you need to meet the demand. If you don't meet the demand, then you have a false market. Hence, you get a bubble. And so there needs to be that balance there. So it's really interesting.
100%. 100%. I was listening to one developer. He said, we will build enough housing of every type of housing that's needed. They always say they don't build enough low-income housing. He said, we'll build as much low-income housing as you want. You just got to let us do it. He said, because you can make money you can make money building any style of housing that you want, whether it's a super luxurious bazillion-dollar home for the ultra-rich. He said, or a house for everybody. We can do it, but cities just won't let us do it. They just won't let us build what we need to build, and they only approve these same cookie-cutter subdivisions. He said, because that's the only thing you can get through building departments, because they've seen it before. And if they've seen it before, it's easier to approve. And if they've seen it before and easier to approve, they don't have to hire more building permits or building inspectors, yada, yada. I'm going on again. Anyway, I switched over to this screen. Ladies and gentlemen, today, a cool topic that I came across yesterday is this: crypto mortgages. Crypto mortgages. Pedro, imagine being able to pay your mortgage in crypto for your house now. Wherever you live, you can just pay it in crypto. And I think that's pretty cool. You can pay in crypto. But we're getting to the point where ultimately there's a third-party service that will pay for your crypto or pay for whatever you want in crypto. They'll take your crypto, and then behind the scenes they'll transfer it into fiat, pay your bill, whatever it is. Let me find the article here.
While you're looking at
No,
the article,
I've got it right here. But this is the new thing here. U.S. housing chief orders Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare for crypto assessment in mortgages. Now, this is for those of you not in the U.S. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are two, we'll call them captive corporations. In Canada, you call them a crown corp. In the U.S., they're a private company, but they're owned by the U.S. government, or chartered by the U.S. government, as they say. And they ultimately will back all the mortgages in the U.S. That's why prices and housing and everybody can ultimately afford a mortgage, because the government ultimately guarantees them all for the banks, and they don't have to take any risk. That's a whole other series of shows about that topic. But the point is that they've been told to start preparing for being paid in crypto. And I thought that to be very interesting because it satisfies a couple of things, Pedro. One, the U.S. government needs more crypto, right? And they don't. If they just go out and buy it, it'll artificially inflate the market. And all you hear about everywhere is everyone saying, "Oh, the U.S. government has strategic reserves, going to pump everything." Well, no, because the government smartly is trying to acquire it either by seizing it, or maybe they're mining it also, and then third, if people can pay them, it's just like foreign reserves. If you need more Kripakistani, flip-flop currency, you get people to pay you in that, and then you've got it. And you trade other assets for it. And so essentially what the U.S. is going to be doing is taking payment for crypto, and then they'll print money elsewhere, to deal with paying the bills that they need to for it. And so now they're building up their crypto wealth and their crypto pile. So I thought that to be very interesting. Now, one of the things I said earlier was that prepare to have your mind blown. And when I was reading this article, that over on the corner is Mr. Michael Saylor. And Mr. Michael Saylor, who I put his username in the tweets here today. So, Mr. Saylor, please come on the show and talk about this. We'd love for you to talk about this, because I may be the first person that put this together. He's over there on this, kind of unrelated, but for some reason the great AI that develops all these web pages put these two on the page, and my mind leaked out my ears. It leaked out my ears because the other day, Pedro, you and I did a story about Michael Saylor changing his company from its IT and consulting business and management consulting to a Bitcoin treasury stuff company. And I was confused for a while. Other than just buying it and holding it, I was like, Finally, he had an interview on Bloomberg or CNBC or whatever, in which he told everyone exactly how he's doing it. He said, look, we're a Bitcoin-centric company. Eventually, Bitcoin's going to be the settlement layer for payments for everything. Not in you're going to buy a coffee and you pay in Bitcoin, but like gold is the settlement layer, or was for ages. And before that, food was. You had your goats and trade your goats. And then fiat currency became tokens of that gold and goats and all that type of stuff. And he's getting ready, and he spoke about this, Pedro, in his interview, to offer all types of credit in Bitcoin-backed treasuries. And one of the specific things he said, if people are willing to give you credit, they'll give you credit in anything they have an asset for, and we have Bitcoin. Yeah. And he said, and he specifically mentioned the word credit cards, mortgages, corporate debt, municipal debt, all these types of things. He said eventually they'll be backed by Bitcoin treasuries. And so last week I was like, oh, now I finally get his company. And he just said it. Here's the Bitcoin settlement layer. Trading above that is the debt layer. Trading above that is the equity layers. And trading above that is any kind of token people want to represent any of those. But ultimately, boom, they all settle down to Bitcoin. And then this article comes out saying the U.S. government's preparing to take payment. And if you read the article between the lines, not only payment, but what you mentioned in another article was that the cryptocurrency is an asset in itself that should be taken for getting a mortgage before they were ruling that out under the previous administration. And so now Michael Saylor is in a position and with his company, either to give mortgages as a mortgage lender, which is a massive business in the United States and Canada, and really in much of the world. Remember, he has $66 billion in Bitcoin that he can, make available for this. Well, maybe not all of it, but he can be in the lending business for Bitcoin mortgages and cryptocurrency mortgages, and have the government say that it's a legitimate asset, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will guarantee the loans. Imagine lending, and it's guaranteed. Now, I'm simplifying the process a lot. Obviously there's mortgage insurance, there's all kinds of things to prevent 2008 from happening again. But the point is that in the period of like 2 months, Michael Saylor has taken his company, flipped it on edge, and now is poised to either be the leading or the only Bitcoin treasury company that can take and lend mortgages in crypto and have them guaranteed by the federal government, or he can act as the wholesaler to other companies that want to do it. And that's probably what he's not going to set up a mortgage lending arm. He's probably going to wholesale this service to the mortgage lending companies. And the amount of money that Strategy is going to rake in from this. The mortgage business is arguably one of the largest financial products, outside of arcane derivatives in which guys trade $5 billion a day and stuff. It's one of the largest financial businesses in the world.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, and when I put that all together, I was like, holy smokes, is it like, and remember, he's an aerospace engineer like Striking Jr. I'm like, I hope Striking Jr. turns out to be as smart as this guy over here. So Michael Saylor, if you're watching this, come on this show and talk to us about this, because I looked all over the internet, but I think I'm the first one that put that together. And hopefully that was your plan.
Really? We've talked about this. What are you talking about?
I mean, when the news came out about this, I'm not talking about the concept. We've been talking about it for a long time. When this news came out and I saw it, I'm like, aha, Saylor. And I'm sure, since he's a wealthy guy, he's working behind the scenes too, on the lobbyist front, and he pushed for this.
So in addition to that, we talked about how things would actually be changed from the traditional finance of fiat cash going through versus playing with the idea. And I think this is really important to understand. So Florida Medicare broker, he's over on Rumble. What's up, brothers? Good to have you.
Good to see you. Thanks for joining us, Florida Medicare broker.
Would love to have you.
Yeah, it looks like you got a little knowledge about this style of industry here, but my agency actually offers it through Meanwhile Insurance. Love the idea. I must have skipped a comment there.
It's all good. But one of the things I think it's really important to understand is this. We talked about insurance being changed up, and I think it's really important because the fact that there's so much. Do you remember, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, how I showed the stable coin and how it's volatile and how you can literally take the
play the spread.
The spread. Yeah, basically. So one of the things that's dope about this, and I've talked about, you get 5 to 10% a week based off of those movements, right? Where you play the spread. And it's really important that one of the things that insurance companies as well as mortgage companies is they're always within the fee basis. And when you actually get your mortgage, they want to charge you a small rate, but over a period of 30 years, what do they do with it? They make a ton of money, and it's front loaded, right? So that they can get the majority of the money. But the fact that stable coins is volatile, unlike the dollar per se, right? Whereas, and when I say the dollar, I mean like the percentages. You can trade the actual currency market, but again, that's risky, and and you can lose your shirt if you're a mortgage provider or an insurance provider or a Medicare provider. But because of the nuances within stablecoin, you can get a staking fee as well as play the difference. And what you could do is keep it at parity at $1, which is the majority of your money. When you pull your staking fee at it, which is typically going to be 5 to 6% on average, you could take that staking fee and play the leverage wrong word to use leverage, but the low and the high of it, the movement of it, and then add into what you actually get, which could produce an additional additional 30 to 50% on average of your staking percentage. Now, this is really important because that nuance could actually take a difference between, bro, that is so loud in my ear.
What is? I'm not sending you
Hear
anything.
me? What?
I'm not sending you any noise.
Yeah, it's because of the mic. That's why. It's so loud in my ear. And it's just the mic that you have on your, when you move around from your lapel. See if you can put it up on
Here, hold
right
on.
side.
Here, hold on. I'll fix it while you're talking, but I'll turn it off.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. So this is really important to understand because not a lot of people paid attention to stablecoins and the nuance behind it. And so I've been playing this. It's a great play. You can sit there and do it. And it's low risk, extremely low risk. And so that money then it correlates. And I expected, we've talked about how I said how mortgages make their money is going to change. I think we're going to see lower interest rates, but more importantly, you're also going to see money coming into the market from a brokerage standpoint that's going to add to the profitability of running mortgages, which will then you'll see a proliferation of mortgage dealers, which will then drop the actual rates behind what you're doing just innately because they're receiving more mortgage.
Welcome PBS NewsHour to the show. Appreciate it. They're showing an interview with Eric and Donald Trump.
It's good to have you, man. We love any interaction.
2025 Bitcoin conference. We'll get out there and watch that. Thanks for stopping by and adding to the engagement.
And on the other hand,
if you actually are a PBS NewsHour, feel free to reach out to us via in the body as a way to get a contact with me, and you can send press releases and things like that, and we'll be happy to talk about them when they're crypto related. Anyway, but to finish off this conversation about.
Let me finish because I almost finished what I was.
I thought you were done. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm almost done. So the proliferation of actual more mortgage companies will get again. When you have too many businesses, what does that happen? They fight with each other to get the client. And so as that happens, then you'll see the rates drop because there's more money to make than the mortgages within stable coins. And you're going to see people literally reaching out, let's say to Amazon and say, hey, look, you're a solid stable coin. We see you have $1 trillion worth of stablecoin assets that we can actually use and utilize that is backed by real assets. They'll sit there and say, can we borrow X amount, right? Based off of, basically, we'll give you X amount of money, give us the staking amount, and then from there, they can make money on that and then arbitrage between other stablecoins. And this is going to be a major thing. Mark my words when I say this, just like I've said this with multiple things 2.5 years ago on our show, and we're now sitting in and seeing it. So it's really important to pay attention.
Pedro, wait till you hear the first story of, you know how you hear stories about Brazil's having to use all of its foreign currency reserves defending its own, the Brazilian real, so it's a really dangerous situation for them, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be soon, it's going to be Walmart's having to use all of its available cash to defend its stable coin against, the Forex traders will murder you. Absolutely, they're the smartest, fastest traders. Yeah. They're the sneakiest sons of bitches on the planet. They'll send operatives out to watch the exact moment when an oil tanker leaves, so they know that the currency is going to be devalued. Blah blah blah. They will murder stable coins if they're fully tradable, and people don't have them completely backed. Anyway, but to finish up the topic about Michael Saylor and. The U.S. government, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, Florida, a Medicare broker. One of the things you mentioned was insurance, and in transactions that involve going in and out of a currency like Bitcoin to fiat to this, and it requires a third party. This type of stuff. In all, everything in a mortgage transaction is insured. And anything goes. The title, it has some title insurance. You got mortgage insurance. You get your own insurance. Everything, every step of the way, in case something goes wrong, the lawyers know who to sue. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for who do the lawyers sue? Well, that guy, or me. But and now, if they can do that all in Bitcoin if they can take the Bitcoin as an asset for the mortgage, if they can take payment for it, if the lender is fully their books are in Bitcoin, and all the people in that food chain, including the government who guarantees it now through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, accepts it, doesn't have to go through U.S. dollars or the exchange rate between that, then there's less risk. There's less risk, less insurance involved, and ultimately lower costs for people. And frankly, everything can happen a lot faster too. So very interesting topic today, and hopefully we'll get Mr. Saylor on the show here to talk about it, because I know he's dying to be on our massive show here. But it's growing. We got new people today. We got a Florida Medicare broker. But where are you? If you don't mind, you don't have to tell us. But where in Florida are you? I'm familiar with almost all of Florida from spending much of my life there. But I spend a lot of time up north near Jacksonville because that's where my parents retired.
So one of the things about our show, while you're doing that, is
we're on the front page of Rumble. How about that?
I know. Yeah, it's dope. So one of the things that's so interesting about our show is we're very interactive with our people. We're not a recorded show. We're a live show. Most importantly, I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing your thoughts and processes, especially when you have people from all over the world bringing you data. It gives me more insight to be able to calculate on trades, as well as many other avenues being able to use. It basically seeds into my brain, allows me to splinter out with many other areas. One of the things I bring up though is Florida. We actually, he's from
Ocala.
Ocala. All right, dope, man. Just outside of Ocala. Well, sounds like a blast, man.
Yeah, Mrs. Striking and I need to go there because there's a giant equestrian barn there. Like the holy grail of horses is in just north of Ocala. Or in Ocala, in the Ocala proper. So I'll be visiting there soon, Florida Medicare broker.
Ocala, dude. I will never enter Ocala. There's a certain somebody who I guess is moving there that I will stay away from.
Personal issues. That will do it. There's a city in Indiana I'll never go again.
But long story short, it's a great place. I hear it's a great place. Absolutely amazing place. There. I hear it's beautiful land, great people. It's almost like salt of the earth, good people down there. So that sounds like a great place to live. Jumping back to what we were saying, as Florida Medicare, we actually have a Telegram in the comment sections. If you look at the instructions section, we actually have a Telegram. If you want to be able to reach in there, that'd be great. You can connect with me and Tom there specifically if you guys want to talk or something like that. You're more than welcome, my friend. Also, guys, we are just getting going again. And so if you guys could do us a quick favor, please hit the like, share button and make a comment, which many of you guys are doing. It helps us out tremendously. Here's one last thing. When you share that, open that up into a browser that is incognito. And I know you're like, wait, what? This helps because we're a small show and we're trying to build here and we're trying to get it. Our goal this year is to have 500 viewers every single day, right? And so right now we're about sitting around 100 to 200 people here on Rumble, and our goal is to have about 500 to 600 people. And so fingers crossed, and by doing that, that brings new eyes to what we're doing, and more importantly, it also helps us grow and bring more people into the community, to bring new ideas and then more advantages, to take more advantages of new ideas to make money. So
100%.
Definitely. Thomas, let me ask you a quick question. So I'm sitting here and I heard this and I almost am like, this is scary for me, but Shell is in early talks to acquire BP.
They debunked that already today. I was just listening to Bloomberg and they said basically Shell said that's a complete internet fabrication. and so
another one.
Right. And so I'm guessing since the oil has been highly speculative lately, Iran or North Korea or somebody put that out there, seeing if they could manipulate spike the price on it. That would be a disaster. I mean, last thing you want is consolidation in the oil industry right now. I mean, they're both massive companies. They don't need to merge. I mean, when Exxon and Mobil merged, that was a disaster for prices, and just it's better. The more in that in that world, the better. Just more the better.
Competition is good. Less competition means that your bottom dollar gets destroyed because they can capitalize on that and say, we're the only game in town. Sorry. And in some cities in the United States and other places around the world, that's all they have. There's no like, it's kind of wrong, right? Like they can do that. But on the other end, if you're a small town and you need, some few gas stations, and that's what they do. I have a friend of mine who lives in Texas, and I think there's I think it's 10,000 people live in it, or 12,000. And he was telling me it's like literally everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows about what you do the night before. And I was just cracking up. I was in the military, and I said, "What?" I go, "I thought I came from a small town about 350 or 250,000."
That's nothing.
Well, in California, right? In California. And I just remember just being like, "Oh wow, wait, there's smaller towns, besides mine." And so that kind of woke me up to it. So it was actually funny.
Yeah, my little slice of the world where I went to high school, 7th grade through 12th grade, I guess, was in Ohio, and it was 20,000 people, and everybody knew each other, and they still all do. I mean, same people still, because some died obviously, and some were born, but it's there's a Heinz ketchup factory there. There's a sugar beet plant's out of business. A couple industries there. There's a big corrugated box company, a couple other things, and that's it. And lots of agriculture. I mean, on Future Farmers of America Day in high school,
FFA, right?
all the seniors in FFA club, which I was not in. I was not a farmer. Drove their John Deere tractors. I mean, the big agricultural things, and parked them in the parking lot in the high school, and it was, they'd come rolling. It was like an army. It was like the Russians invading Ukraine with their tanks, and you're just watching. You're like, that one's cool. Oh, that one's cool. And then the guy comes in with the 8-wheeled giant thing. It was like twin articulation things and belching diesel smoke. This is in the 80s, so there's still a lot of leaded gas stuff going on then too, and it was just awesome. Anyway, that was, and everybody knew everybody in town, It's like, and of course, you always knew, Gail married Jerry. Yeah, we all knew that was going to happen 20 years ago, when we were kids. And everybody knew that. Dave and Jill, still together. We knew that since 7th grade.
That's the coolest thing behind small towns, man. I think it's a part of me, if I ever have kids and I want to move to a small town, and have them just kind of experience that, because it seems very innocent life, and they're not, obviously, you want your kids as innocent as long as possible so they don't get kind of corrupted, and then give them a good, moral base so that they can actually handle life as they move out. And a part of me feels like that's just, I've dealt with, I remember going into the military, and all these guys were from New York and all this stuff, and they were so jaded. And I just remember just being like, bro, you are so, I'm good money, man. I don't want your view. And it's for a good reason, right? Because, they always had and I didn't grow up in the most best area as well, but there was this small hometown feel to it. Everybody knew everybody. You had your ghetto superstars, we call them, right? That's when a ghetto superstar, that is what we are. Remember that song?
I do.
Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Anyways, but on the back end, it was like that. It was just a beautiful thing, and it was, I don't know, man. I feel like we kind of need to go back to that period, but also at the same sense, we do need to move forward and progress. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck between the heartfelt of that. Yeah, no. Anyhow, so the other part behind it, which I thought was really interesting, is BRIC countries call for a nuclear weapon-free Middle East, which I thought was really interesting. Really, really interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
they wish we had a nuclear-free world. Never mind the Middle East. Now, wait. Now, what did you say? A nuclear weapon or just nuclear-free? Like no nuclear
weapon-free.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the obvious. That's the obvious thing. It's like, let's put out a feel-good statement today. All right. Well, Abdul, let's just say, how about nobody have nuclear weapons here? But that would be nice. I mean, until the crazy people in Iran are actually regime changed out. That's not going to change. They're going to push for it, and unfortunately, ultimately, anybody who wants to get one will put it together. Soon. I'm not going to go into it, but technology. You can't ever put technology back in a bottle, and that thankfully changing one type of radioactive material to another is that to make it do what it needs to do is really difficult, and all it needs is a technological advancement to make that really easy, and and suddenly this world is a lot more dangerous. The good news is that we're getting better at detectors, though, and for those of you that are in physics and stuff like that, understand or just read a lot, you understand that nuclear material gives out radiation. And you can detect that when it does. And to the point now where even encased in, lead that's feet or even miles thick, certain particles go right through like it's not even an issue. And as we get better at detecting those, you can detect any pile of nuclear material anywhere. So you'll be able to quickly deal with it. Nobody will be able to hide it. I mean, we can detect the neutrinos coming out of suns light years away, and know what's going on in the core of that sun, 100 light years away, just by the type and frequency of the neutrinos that are coming. It's the most amazing thing. So I think the world will get the ability to build these things will get easier, but also the ability to detect them and stop it from happening will get easier too over time. And in the old days, I actually did some business with an outfit that got doged heavily, the National Nuclear Security Administration, and they were very up on new technology. I mean, they were investing with the Department of Energy a lot of money on new technology to minimize all sorts of stuff with that. I guess I can't really talk about that, but it was they're putting lots of money into that stuff. But anyway, Pedro, we don't have long left in the show here today, but I do want to thank all the new people that found us on Rumble today.
Absolutely. Dude, we're on the main page. Kind of shocking. Right?
Are we still on it?
Yeah. Which is really cool. I mean, I feel like as if it's like...
Hey, if you're on mute, guys, come watch our show. Come on in here. Come on.
Yeah, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come and knock on our door. Come and knock on our door.
This deserves a... Yeah, hold on. Let me include you in this. This all deserves... I've been asking Chris at Rumble to put us on the main page for a long time. So this deserves a power up here from them.
Let's go. Thank you, Chris. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. We're a small show, but it's really interesting. One of the things just as we kind of finish off here, and I thought this was really interesting. ChatGPT requests reportedly use up to 1,000% more electricity than Google research, which I thought what was really interesting is we all knew, like there was this fight of how Bitcoin was just through the mining, just an energy suck and hurts the economy, right? For electricity.
Right.
And over the last 3-4 years, we have seen a decrease of easily 50 to 75% usage of electricity. And yet it's not even said, let alone Ethereum, which is basically, I think they're 1% now of which they went from like 100% of usage now to 1%. And again, it's not brought up. But yet we know this because as AI keeps developing and growing, what's important to pay attention is this. is that we will need nuclear plants to actually be able to run an AGI, let alone an ASI, artificial super intelligence. And so nuclear is going to be one of, again, a mainstay for the American just tech industry. Because as we keep, bro, that is so loud. Why is it so loud? Maybe put it up on your lapel over here.
You're still hearing my mic?
Bro, it is like, again, it keeps just...
it's funny because I listen to my mic and I don't hear it. Is it that?
No, it's not that. It just goes... It sounds like I'm in a air tunnel.
But I don't hear that, and I don't hear it on the stream. That's weird.
I don't know, man.
And I'm not moving.
Yeah, it's driving me absolutely nuts. I like literally every time I start to think, like, and it starts to happen, and I'm just like, I mean, I can push through it, but man, I'm like, come on, dog. Like, what happened? Why is it doing that now? Is it going out? Anyways, long story short, I want to talk more about the kind of the collapse of, because we've been talking about the collapse of the housing market for about a year and a half now, and everything happening, and we've talked about this. This isn't like anything that is new to us on the show. And whenever we do Technical Tuesdays, about once a month on one of those Technical Tuesdays, we always go over this chart right here, which is the US debt clock, and we always go over specific numbers so that you guys can pay attention. And we've said, look at the number of houses and the price of it dropping. And so one of the things, and we'll probably do that. Did we do it at the beginning of the month, or I don't think I actually did it this month.
Did what?
Probably where we went over the housing market and the price.
I don't recall.
Yeah, shoot, I forgot to do it. So we'll probably do it next Technical Tuesday, where we go over the housing market, the decrease that we've been watching in the housing market, the falsifying of the numbers and buying of houses, which is basically a new type of loans that they've been creating, which we've talked about on previous Technical Tuesdays. And so I think this is going to be a real situation that we're going to see. This is something that is more systemic within the actual housing market. So next week we'll go over that, and so you guys can see that. If it doesn't get rectified and we build more affordable housing and bring more supply online, I think this thing could really get going and really see a downturn in the market. But ultimately, when I say this, whenever you this is not to bring fear, because whenever you start to see a huge drop in the markets and certain circumstances happening, always expect what's the word I want to use? An opportunity to be able to buy and at a lower price. So giving you guys heads up so you know. And to finish off here real quick, because I know we're finishing off, S&P 500 just hit a new all-time high today. Whoop, whoop.
Really?
There we go. All right. This is the futures. But if you look at the volume, what I always say, look at the volume. Do we see this? Volume going down this week to all-time highs. We went over on Technical Tuesday. What? Same situation. So expect to see a turnaround here. I expect to see us come back down and test this low of that 57.66 at least.
What Pedro is referring to, what I've been learning lately is divergences.
I can't hear you, bud.
I'm live on this blah 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 blah. Sorry about that. I turned it off while I was moving around, so I didn't blow your ear up.
Thanks, brother.
What I've learned is divergences. You notice the price is going up here, the low or higher lows being made, and then down here, lower lows being made.
Highs. Yeah.
Or higher highs, lower highs.
Yeah.
These
are higher highs.
Down here, and that's not in step, whatever. It's a divergence, and when a divergence happens, things are going to change. Depending on the divergence, I'm not going to go into the details of them now, because first of all, I'm just brushing up on them, and two, but the best thing to understand is when that happens, something's changing in the market, and the charts will reveal it very shortly. Usually, that reveals it a billionth of a second after you discover it, before you can make a trade.
not even that. I mean, we've talked about this more. Remember this play right here? I said, guys, look, we're seeing a deceleration in volume coming in. And every time we saw a sell-off for that day, we saw an increase of seller volume, right? And then we saw the drop that happened right here. That was this, right? And then we shot up again, boom, right? And then I said, guys, look, we're seeing the deceleration.
Thank you, Space Cat, for joining us today.
In here, yet we're consolidating right here, right? So I said expect it to sell off. And what did we see? We saw the sell-off coming. So we're seeing a similar situation, all-time high. Everybody's going to FOMO in. Let's go, ha, hoorah. We're going to see a deceleration again. We should see another fall to about this level here, and then we'll see something again go up. So giving you guys a heads up so you know, don't be afraid. This is normal. We always expect this. It's something that we always talk about. We go over often. So that's it. And for our new viewers, thank you for coming in today, guys. We really appreciate you. Please come back. We're a daily show, doing it from 12 to 2 every day. Sometimes it's 12, 12:30, depending on our schedules. But typically we're here. Put us on subscribe, as well as you subscribe us, go through, do us a quick favor, and hit that notify all. So every time we go live, you can capture the alpha that we're getting and bring it.
As the comment on the screen says, please comment, like, subscribe, follow, share. Just do it. You're commanded to just do it. For those of you watching this Rumble, give us a follow, please. We're trying to build our base here, and all we can do is beg, plead, and grovel for it.
And grovel even more.
Please, for the love of God, follow us. No, but Rumble's been very good to us now, and they were kind enough to put the crypto category on the homepage today. It's not usually on the homepage, and they did. And we're one of the live streams there, so we got put on the homepage of Rumble. Really appreciate it. In fact, at one point, I was just looking, we had, and Wendy O's broadcasting, and we had 14 viewers, and she had 13. So we were doing better than Wendy O. Of course, she gets 26,000 replays of hers, but we're moving and grooving, moving up. Moving on up to the east side.
We need a girl, bro. We need a girl. We need a girl. Every time we have a girl on our show, we literally have twice to 3 times the amount of viewers. It's just, I hate to say it, but it's crazy. Like, we'll typically range between 100 to 200 people, and if a girl comes on, we got 600 sometimes. I mean, it's crazy. So if you are a female and you really like crypto and you're really up to date with all the nuances within it, hey, come join the DYOR or DYOR live.
We're on a mission from God.
Network.
I don't know if you heard that, Pedro. No, I played.
See, we're on a mission from God.
We are, ladies and gentlemen. As the Jake and Elwood Blues say, we're on a mission from God. We are here to bring crypto to the masses, and what form we call it as edutainment. We educate you and entertain you at the same time, and thus you learn. And always remember that nothing we say here is financial advice. These are Pedro and I's personal opinions, and you should consult your own important people in your lives to give you financial information that are actually licensed to do it and are professionals. And realize we are just here to entertain you, and you can make your own bags fat. But anyway, Pedro, that's all we got today for the show. It was a good day. I'm going to try and get Mr. Saylor here on the show. Wouldn't that be good? To talk about how his business is secretly going to become the largest mortgage lender on the planet one day. Because they got the bitcoins to lend and take in payment. People will be paying them in Bitcoin. Anyway, it's going to be a good thing. Pedro, I forgot to tell you, I'm going to be driving to Toronto tomorrow, so we need to talk about the schedule. Okay. Maybe we can do a call. I'll do a call-in show tomorrow while you go over the charts or something like that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you new that are watching, we're a daily talk show here. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. This is Pedro, the crypto chart analyst over here, and my co-host of the show. We're on here daily talking about crypto, politics, regulation. Our little channel, DYOR Media, has a number of shows on it, including the Crypto Swamp Creatures. Chris and Justin talk about the nexus of politics and digital assets. Great little podcast, 10-minute episodes, hitting topics all the time. works out really well, and they're on CNN and Fox and Talking Heads, wonk 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 a lot, and got a bunch of other shows. So stick around, tune in, set those notifications, and glad you were able to come by today, all you new people, especially you Florida Medicare broker, for joining us. New viewers are always well appreciated. But Pedro, I do not have a sign out today because I don't have the typical kabong credits here today because they didn't have them set up. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to sign out today by turning on my machine is running slow, so my outro is slow. Slow. But anyway, we'll see you guys probably sometime tomorrow in some sort of show, but if not, Monday we will see you for sure at noon here, wherever you're watching us today. So be there.
Or be square.